And welcome back to Headliners with me, Simon Evans. Still going strong. We have Josh Howie and Nick Dixon. Tuesday's Mail, and there's also trouble in the Labour Party over Eddie Izzard, Josh.
So Keir Starmer refuses to say whether comedian Eddie Izzard would qualify for an all-woman shortlist after Labour MP Rosie Duffield threatens to quit over row. I'm going to add bravely. Threatens to quit. So he was on LBC earlier today.
Nick Ferrari.
Yeah, he was asked about Eddie Izzard, and he just... it amazes me to hear a politician, certainly the leader of the opposition, still fluff this issue, or to try and cowardly get away from it. Because he basically did this whole thing. He was like, look, 99.9% of people, this is his quote, for 99% of women, it's a matter of biology. No, kid, let me help you here. 100% of women are female. That's a fact. So there are trans women and they're trans women, and that's cool. But to try and sort of... He's trying to have his cake and eat it.
It's a clever use of words. It's It's that point at which his legal training can let him down, because it leads him to think that he can cleverly elude.
Absolutely, and he thinks he's being clever here. But anybody who's paying attention to this issue can see 100%, not 99%, 100% exactly what he's doing.
For 99.9% of people, killing people is wrong, and then there's another 0.1% for whom it's acceptable, and I respect that as well. I mean, it's obviously nonsense, isn't it? You can't have a law based on that. We say what reality is. We decide that. It may be a social construct to some extent, but that's what society does. It creates constructs that we all understand. And then we play by those rules. The funny thing is, I mean, I do feel a tiny bit sorry for him, because it doesn't look... He's standing in Sheffield, and that isn't an all-female shortlist anyway. I don't think. So it has been slightly cooked up. I will just sort of bring it in, but still.
A few things. I mean, he says, I'm not going to simply put that to one side and ignore that. Of course, he is trying to ignore it, which is the funny thing. It's the cervix gate all over again. And a couple of things here. The Mail even saying she is already kind of ridiculous for Eddie Izzard. I mean, they're already sort of buying into it by doing that. I question that in itself. But this, so, it's completely...
It has been interesting the way the Mail and the Express, who you might have thought traditionally would be the papers to...
Yeah, the Mail's got very lefty. They will go along with it. They'll just go along with it unthinkingly, but it's actually a contentious issue. It's not a done deal. Now, and he's just trying to appeal to a certain part of his base and not alienate that part of the Labour voting base. It's that simple. But we all agree on that issue. I'd also add this thing. He's saying that using all women shortlists is now in question because they have over 50% of women. So there's a legal opinion that says they can't use them anymore. There is an argument about merit and why do we even use them. And it is interesting that Liz Truss actually came from the A-list. You know what I mean? They were deliberately promoted her head of a station, and look how that worked out. So
one of the conversations he had on that radio programme, which I think is quite interesting, is apparently when they reach 50% anyway, parity, then it's no longer legal to use shortlists like that.
That's what I said,
Absolutely,
And I think that is actually... That would actually be very welcome. I mean, I do think they should only ever be regarded as a sort of temporary...
Well, then Eddie will go back to being a man, or identifying as a man. That'll help him. But I just want to point out, for anybody who's never heard this before, when people think of trans women, they think of people who've been through the surgery and had the hormones and whatever. 95% of people who identify as trans haven't had surgery, haven't had the hormones, are usually, if they're men, if they're biological men, they're intact males. So when he starts talking about this, and this is why the Mayor Forster case, she referred to a person with a beard who identifies 2 days a week as a woman, but this person won Business Woman of the Year in Scotland or something. And this is what we're talking about, is opportunities being taken away from women and biological rights.
Eddie Izzard has been a transvestite for as long as I can remember. Nobody cared. He would wear dresses and he would say, I'm in girl mode, I'm in boy mode, and you go, yeah, fine, have your fun.
And people find it, and women particularly, find it very offensive when he says, girl, I'm going to put I've got my girl brain on, or any of this stuff, because it just reduces their lived experiences as a woman to this kind of, wearing high heels?
You're obviously right that the Labour Party are trying to some extent to appeal to one of their, and the trouble is that they build a coalition. Of course, all parties build a coalition, but the Labour Party do traditionally had a strong coalition between kind of left-leaning intellectual, Hampstead types or whatever, but broadly speaking, the hard-working class. they now have to kind of like make a combination up, and they will find this is problematic, not just from the likes of us, but they are building, of course, they rely heavily on some very conservative religious groups. I mean, Islamic position on trans is no further.
Although in Iran, actually, they're very, they track because it's seen as being preferable to being homosexual. Yeah. And I just want to say the reason why it is so frustrating is I want to vote Labour this time, but if they can't recognise what a woman is, they've kicked out most of the anti-Semites. He's done a good job on that. Sort it out.